How's it going, everybody? Welcome, welcome. Just getting my screen share all set up here. Boom, 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 boom. Cool. Share. All right. Let me pull up our participants list. And then I'm going to pull up question and answer window here. So I always stop just as a reminder when you guys submit any questions and answers into the chats. I also have the live chat open. Um, as usual, just gonna throw in our AI Blueprint group. You guys get 7 days free in there if you haven't checked out all the courses in there. But yeah, welcome guys. Dennis, Eric, always see you guys here. Jim, Luke, Manny. All right. So, as people continue to roll in here, this is week 26 of these webinars. We have about 250 people that registered today. So pretty cool. Pretty cool. The news just keeps getting faster and things just keep getting crazier. Even at our company at Contracts Connected, we're just trying to every week. We have a dedicated chat channel called AI that all of our team members throw different Instagram videos or TikTok videos in, and everybody kind of just posts them in that group and we kind of do a debrief on what's new strategies, new tools that we've used. My team is very, very, very leaning heavily into this, and I'm kind of pushing them that way. Every single one of my team members now has a Claude Brain built out, which we're going to talk about today, that basically knows their calendars, knows everything that they're talking about, knows everything they're working on, knows everything about our team, can manage their calendars for them, can sift through things for them, can highlight important events for them, puts driving time on the calendar if they have in-person meetings for them, all of that stuff. And then on top of that, then whatever their daily tasks are, whether they're, customer success, whether they're reviewing new code or reviewing new features or building new features, I've had all of them build out unique agents to them. And then I'm also using our system to develop not only brains for each one of our employees individually, but we're also managing like a shared brain about the company, about the organization, about where we are at Contracts Connected, where we're going at Contracts Connected, what's our path to get there. So everybody has a mutual alignment across the organization. They know what projects we're working on. They know where we're at with our projects. They know where our projects are kind of stuck versus which ones are ahead of schedule. So it's pretty cool. Today, I'm going to be giving you guys a little bit of an insight around that. I kind of picked two topics for today. So the two topics are Office Agents, which is in beta from Anthropic. Claude, I used to only really present about OpenAI and ChatGPT, but Claude's just been on a rampage this year, and they are so far ahead of OpenAI in terms of some of these features that people really want to use that I think construction teams are really finding useful. And I have experiment going with a construction company out of San Diego. We've built a fully agentic end-to-end contract administrator. It is operating by logging into contractsconnected.com. So it still has permission gates, approval gates. It's safe in terms of what it can access. It doesn't have access to everything. It is under their compliance. And yeah, it's pretty cool. So it's the first of many agents. We are looking for more companies to beta test this fully agentic contract administrator. They basically don't have anybody at their company doing contract administration. They're just emailing this person, and this person's acting just as a contract administrator is. Has an ever-evolving brain. It's learning their company. It's learning who their employees are. It's learning how they write scopes, for instance, versus what attachments go for which contract packages, and which owners, which is also structured in Contracts Connected. So it's a great marriage between structure, Contracts Connected, automation, AI analysis, and then just an employee to move things along and then nudge you when you need. So if you or anybody you know in the GC world, or even like if somebody is a sub, but they prime things, subprime, or if engineering companies are priming things, just send them our way because we're rolling this out to, we have one construction company fully using it. And then we're looking to onboard two more in the next couple weeks here. And we want to continue to beta test this with real companies that are, willing to lean into this. And I think you guys are the perfect examples of people in this industry that are willing to lean into this AI stuff. So with that being said, let's jump in. So the first half I'm going to talk about is Claude Office Agents, one of their new releases. And then I'm going to talk about kind of a little bit of code work, a little bit of skill, so you guys understand kind of how this is all gluing together. I also put an additional PDF together that we're going to go through about, what is getting unlocked in Excel and what is getting unlocked in like Microsoft Word with Claude. And then I wanted to get into the brain. The brain is I don't know what other better word to use it. Lars, my co-founder at Contracts Connected, hates that I call it my brain. But I don't know what other word to use it other than a brain because it literally knows everything. It's thinking through everything. It's constantly learning. It's constantly evolving. So I will walk you guys through the overall like kind of top level architecture that I think that you need to just have a grasp on. So when you go build this out for yourself, it's very easy. Anybody can do it. You do not have to be technical to do this. When you go build this out for yourself, you know what it is, what it stands for, how it works, how it's used. And that way you can just build it out the best the first time that you try it and you don't go through all this like trial and error that I've gone through because I watch for Anthropic's releases and even if they release something at 10 p.m., I use it right at 10 p.m. And in terms of the kind of setup, once you guys understand the MD file structure and stuff like that, I actually went and grabbed a full like setup video. It's like a 20-minute video, but trust me, like this, I'm not going to make you guys watch it today because I figured you'd get more value. I'm going to put it in the chat here towards the end of the webinar, but you guys get more value over being able to hit pause, go do this, and then come back. So I'm going to give you guys the instructions. I'm going to give you guys how it works, and then I'll give you guys a little video at the end to set it up yourself. You can do it on your lunch break while you're, eating a cheeseburger or something. So let's get into it. All right, we got a bunch more people rolling in too. All right, so basically, we're gonna focus on a few things today. I really want you guys to have like a working definition of the office agents. I want you guys to be able to know exactly what's new with Claude and Claude now having this beta office agent rollout and their connection into like Word and Excel. Then I'm going to give you guys kind of like a map of the ecosystem, including the Anthropic and Microsoft solutions that just came out literally think it was like within the last 7 days. And then I'll give you guys basically a how-to for building a shared brain across your entire organization and then your own unique brain as well. And then we'll go through some specific examples. So the thing that I want to just clarify really quickly, I know some of you guys that I see on here, I think you guys have come to nearly all 26 weeks of webinars, which is really cool. But chatbots versus agents, chatbots are what some people are kind of like stuck, like that's all they've used. They've just used it to answer emails. They've just used it to ask it some questions. But agents dynamically use tools. So you give it access to certain tools, orchestrate workflows, meaning there's multiple steps to doing something, maybe in multiple different softwares, like look up this contact in my address book, go to my email tool, then write this email, then send this email, and then go to my CRM tool and log it in my CRM, for instance. But offering deeper automation is complex tasks, and you do have to give it guardrails here. So you don't kind of get yourself into any trouble. And then I can't see the Q&A, so I'm going to pull this up just in case somebody asks some questions. Okay. All right. There's a few different things, and I'm going to actually share this PDF. Mhm. Okay. And I need to share. Boom. So this is what was pulled up. Sorry, guys, I'm trying to share this other screen for you, but here it is. Okay, basically what happened is they knew that a lot of people were using this, and if you guys can't see my open my Claude instance, you can here. So basically, I just wanted to summarize this for you guys. Claude for Excel. This is now going to basically kind of be like add-ins, and you're going to work through the Microsoft Marketplace to get these. They're really easy. You do need a paid plan for Claude to use these things, but traditionally, like AI has been really good for generating formulas, but not actually working in these cells, or it maxes out at a certain level. So this is going to basically unlock quite a bit more. So be able to read multi-tab workbooks with cell level citations, write and update formulas while preserving dependencies. This has always been kind of an Achilles heel for AI. I don't know if you guys have really kind of stuck your feet in on that one, but builds pivot tables, charts, models from plain English, debugs these. And I know if you guys are in construction, you've seen these before. And instead of having to go investigate or work in a chat now, you can basically just say, I have this value at this cell, go fix it, and it will actually go fix it. MCP connectors for external data. So think about, if Procore or if your project management solution, which they should eventually, who knows if they will, they should come out with MCP connectors that allow AI to basically connect into the data there so you guys can work against that data. One thing about MCP connectors is it's a universal kind of language. So I've talked to you guys before about integrations and the pros and cons of integration. So basically, um, when you integrate, like, let's say Sage accounting with Procore, there's a direct integration. They speak two different languages, and you need the Google Translate app in the middle to translate from here to there. But every single app, Trimble's products speak a different language versus, Viewpoint speaks a different language and whatever. So MCP connectors is a universal worldwide language. Every organization, every software can speak the same language, and once they all speak the same language, they can all connect, and that's called MCP. So that's basically how you can connect in, and that's the strategy that the AI industry actually took because they were like, this old integration world is broken. Let's just build a universal connection language, which I don't know why it took so long to do so, but it's pretty cool that we have it now. Highlights every cell changed with explanation, so it's not going to go changing things that you don't realize. I don't think, honestly, that PowerPoint's going to be super exciting for the construction industry, but you do have it now. Um, they basically tiered these in three different things. So they basically said Excel is fully robust, fully tested. Then they said Claude works on PowerPoint, but maybe it's not the best yet. And then you have Claude for Word. So review, redline, and draft documents in app. So contract risk, analysis, track changes kind of stuff, restructured sections and rewrites to guidelines, track changes, support for real redlining workflows, model choice. So you basically get to pick what you want to use. reads the full document context for targeted edits, available in Copilot Cowork for M365 subscribers. So basically I had this also generate some examples here. So you could drop in a multi-tab bid workbook, ask Claude to compare subcontractor bids, flag outliers, calculate cost per square foot, and build a summary comparison with every number traceable to specific cells. You can do this across budgeting and forecasting, and cost tracking. So describing what you want. I want a 12-month cash flow projection using committed costs to the schedule values tab and anticipated change orders. Claude builds the model, maintains the formula integrity. If it breaks the formula, the cool thing about this in Excel is it literally will go fix that formula. So think about the guys that are using this to code software. When they code a new feature, if it finds a feature is broken, it actually goes and fixes it. PowerPoint, great, cool, but I think a lot of you guys that come here from what I've seen when I go research the people that attend this, you guys are more ops focused. So, Word, contract redlining and review. So upload a subcontract or owner agreement. Claude reviews it against your standard terms, identifies risky clauses, generates track changes, RFI submittal, cover letters, change order workflows. So analyze cost impacts in Excel, then generate the change order in Word, build an executive summary slide in PowerPoint, safety reporting, Excel schedule values and pay app math, and then you have safety plans and QC documentation. So Claude add-ins versus Microsoft Copilot. So if you guys didn't know already, Microsoft did have their own AI model, and then it was working through Copilot. Here's the difference, basically. So the Claude is going to work in a little sidebar. So if you basically are working in Microsoft, this little sidebar would pop out. You'd be able to interact with Claude in there. Then you have Copilot, which is just kind of the same thing, honestly. It feels the same to me. It's another chat window, but honestly, the Opus 4.6 model is is pretty good. It is pretty good. I did test it in Excel earlier today. I got like 10 minutes before my 8 a.m. demo started this morning to try to test it out. It worked really well with broken formulas, and it actually did much better than any other AI model creating Excel formulas or Excel sheets for me than I ever have in the past. We have some pretty complex financial projections for different deals that we're working on at Contracts Connected, and it was able to actually read and understand them and be able to make those changes. Whereas before, as I was working with it in Google's Gemini, and even Gemini in Google Sheets, which should all be connected together, it wasn't able to actually get these formulas to work. And when it built tables, it built broken tables and with dependencies that just didn't make sense. This is much more methodical like a human. And Opus 4.6 is going to be what you guys need to be on for this to make sense. GPT 4.0, not going to be smart enough. Sonnet 4.6, not going to be smart enough, especially for things like Excel. You need to be on Opus 4.6. So access to your data, you basically have more control with Claude is basically what this is saying. This is basically, I don't know if I agree with this one because in my opinion, Claude is primarily powered by enterprise teams. And with the shared brain and stuff like that, you'd have much more leverage here. I think they say this for cowork just because Microsoft is so enterprise. Um, Pretty easy, two-minute install, PMs, estimators, and so on. So yeah, this is basically a quick little thing. I want to get back to my presentation, but I built that additional documentation out for you guys. This is all brand new stuff, so go and experiment with it and have some fun. So yeah, this is brand new essentially. So we have Microsoft Office agent and then the Anthropic agent. So Anthropic's going to be working in the background based off, you know, skills, and skills are like standard operating procedures. So Claude's agent skills for construction, the Excel skills can come in and say, generate this middle log. We just kind of went through some of this stuff, draft meeting minutes and so on, PowerPoint skill, and then we have the PDF skill here as well, to produce formatted reports that look like web pages from any Excel sheet. All right, so let's transition a little bit because when you're using Claude on your desktop, you're going to be using the Claude app. You're not going to be going to Claude.ai as the website. You're going to be using the Claude app. And when you use the Claude app, you also get access to something called Cowork. I did a full webinar on Cowork, so I'm not going to spend as much time going into as much detail. But in terms of Claude Cowork, it's basically a desktop agent that works locally on your machine. So, pros and cons here. Cowork can read, edit, create, and delete files in specified folders. The key word here is specified. When you are using Cowork, when you start, you actually choose which files it has access to. So it'll say, hey, you asked me something and you said desktop. Do you want to give me access to desktop? But keep in mind, if you say yes, it will always have access to all the files on your desktop. So, the smarter thing to do sometimes is to create a Claude kind of file within your documents folder within somewhere on your computer and make this the working folder that you interact with Claude. This is going to make it so you give it access to one folder. And as long as the documents are in that folder, whether you want to edit Word docs, update Excel sheets, you want to create trackers, you want to redline documents, as long as they are in that folder that you had given access to in the past, you will be pretty safe that that's all that's going to be accessed. And Claude Cowork is just a safer consumerized version of what developers use. And the way that it works is it's able to create a task list and then spin up multiple little AI soldiers that go attack that task list. Sometimes it knows that task list is in steps. So step one, I have to do this. Step two, I have to do this. Step three, I have to do this. Step four, I have to do this. And previously, AI wasn't able to really loop through tasks like this because um, I'm seeing that I have a question too. It wasn't able to leap through tasks like this because of things like, uh, why can't I see the question here? Let me see. Boom. Trying to pull up the Q&A. It just ran out of context, right? So it wouldn't be able to, okay, I see. Christopher, I'll answer your question in a sec. It wouldn't be able to perform these longer tasks like, hey, I have 250,000 project documents across, 100 projects in my drive. Can you sift through them and find this and that and this and that? And before AI would just time out, but now it's able to basically approach this and then create a task list. Okay, first task, these 10 folders. Next task, these 10 folders. And it does that in a way where it's now able to kind of like click through. Claude Code, where developers are using, can do this for much longer. Like sometimes I was on a flight from Phoenix to Miami, and I set up a agent in Claude Code, and it worked for 4 hours straight without asking me a certain thing because it was the task was just so large, but it didn't forget, it didn't lose track, it didn't get lost. So Cowork is just a consumerized version. You get to choose very clearly with a very good user interface what files you're giving it access to. It runs in an isolated VM with scoped access and controlled network permissions. So this is about how it can browse on the web. You can kind of limit it and you can say you're not allowed to go to these websites or so on. So you can give it access to an internet browser if those kinds of tasks are being asked of it. And then agent tasks can consume more capacity, requiring careful sandbox testing. So guardrails are basically like you're not allowed to do this, you're not allowed to do that. They have that built into settings versus a developer would have to kind of set those settings themselves. The other side is it is going to consume your tokens faster. So it's going to think for longer. It's going to break things out into steps. You're often going to get a much better result. But if you guys are on a low paid plan, then you should be aware of your usage and make sure that it doesn't just eat things up. And usually I've been a fan in the past of using cheaper models for certain things. Opus 4.6 is just so much better than anything, in my opinion, right now, that especially for co-work style stuff that's multiple tasks or you're giving it multiple tools and needs to go do certain things, it's just not worth like just use the nice model. They're about to come out with another one that's are like so they say like 10x better. So I can only imagine what's coming out here in the next couple weeks. Okay, Christopher asked, is there value in upgrading to Claude Max subscription? $100 a month. So, Christopher, in my opinion, everybody should be using Claude so much right now that you should be hitting your limits. If you're not hitting your limits, don't upgrade. But Claude Max and then Claude 20x Max are some of the best deals out there for this agentic kind of token and like the amount of usage you get. The 20x Max, I know guys that have they're paying for the 20x Max account is like $200 a month, but you get a ridiculous amount of tokens. Okay. I know guys that are paying for 10 different 20x max accounts because, and then they're just rotating through. As soon as they hit the limit on one, they go log into the next, they go log into the next because they're building so much and AI is running so much of their business and AI is constantly analyzing emails that come in, documents that come in, storing them to the brain, referencing the brain, updating the team, constantly checking on things and running analysis on where projects are based on each email that they're just ripping through credits and that instead of buying like, oh, you hit your limit, do you want to pay for a little extra credits? They're just like the 20x max deal is the best deal that we've seen. We probably won't have it forever. It's probably going away very soon. But it is quite insane the amount of value you get from those max plans. But to answer your question, the features are the same. And if you're not hitting your limits, if you're not using it enough, don't worry about it. Don't upgrade unless you're hitting your limits. That would be my answer. Okay. Great question, though. Okay, so I'm going to get into markdown files, agent skills, connectors, and plugins. And then I'm going to tell you guys why these matter because you can now build out scheduled items for it to work on your behalf on a set schedule. So markdown files. Markdown files are just a word for text files. It's just text. It's literally nothing else to it. No formatting, no Word doc, nothing. It's literally just as simple as text gets. And the reason that it works off markdown files is because without any formatting, with it just being plain text, it can actually reference through those things very, 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 very fast. And it's just the best way to feed this information. And this is also going to be the basis of our brain that we'll talk about here in just a little bit too. I need to get moving because it's already 10:30. So agent skills provide repeatable actions on various file types. So think of your agent skills as your SOP. This is your process in which you guys follow. Connectors via MCP. Remember, I told you guys MCPs is that universal language that gets two softwares to talk to each other. It allows AI to talk to any software. Connectors provide access to those external systems, external data sources, wherever your data is living, whether it's Procore, whether it's Autodesk Build, whether it's whatever. I don't think either of them have MCPs, but you can basically build your own MCP if you want. Plugins package skills and connectors into job role specific capabilities for Claude. So you'll see the first three pieces come together and they create a plugin. Plugins kind of come with a bunch of different skills. So, our Procore our plugin now has 10 different skills, everything from creating projects to closing out projects to checking compliance to whatever. All of those can be wrapped up and it needs markdown for background information, how to operate, what's going on here. It needs the skills for the SOP. Step one, do this. Step two, do this. And then it needs connectors to be able to connect into that platform and work in that platform. I hope that all makes sense. They all work together and they can be called a plugin if they're all working together. All right. And that gets me to the next piece. So you can schedule tasks out very easily, and you don't even need to know how to do it in Claude. You can go into Claude and you can open it on your desktop and you can open Cowork and you can just say, hey, I want to build out a scheduled task. And I want every morning it to pull in all of my notes from all of my meeting recordings that I had yesterday, give me a little actionable list. And also, I'm going to, you know, send an email every night about what I think that I need to get done tomorrow, and you're going to incorporate in that my list. And every morning at 3 a.m., you're going to run it because when I come into the office at 7 a.m., I want it done. Stuff like that. I use it for our deals, our pipeline, and our CRM at Contracts Connected. So I come in the morning and it's already reviewed every single note, every single interaction, every single meeting recording, if there is a new one. It moves things through the pipeline and then it generates a report. Okay, here's what's changing. Here's, somebody you should probably follow up with. Here's some value to add to this person. And it basically just operates, does a deep, deep, deep analysis more than any human could ever do and tells me exactly what I need to focus on to move the needle today. So schedule tasks. You would connect in, your connectors. It might build a skill because in the skill it's an SOP. So step one, check everything across the entire project. Step two, check everything across all my emails. Step three, read all my meeting notes. And then step four is generate that to-do list, right? So that's your SOP, that's your skill. And then the connectors are where it would get that information from, right? All right. Contract review, workflow automation. So this is just an example that I wanted to share with you guys. Agents can summarize key terms, identify red flags, and track obligations from contract PDFs, streamlining crucial legal processes in construction. So, there's all kinds of documents and agreements and commitments flying back and forth between owners and primes and their vendors. And basically, I think that the industry is just becoming more and more aware of, hey, let's just understand the risk here. You can have this thing work on a schedule. You can have this thing work when it receives an email with a certain type of attachment. So therefore, you're having it scan those attachments every single time. You can have this thing work off its own email address. So if you forward this to an internal contracts at xyzconstructiongroup.com, you could say, okay, every time you get an email and it has a contract in it, execute this workflow, upload it to this shared folder, run this analysis. Here's our playbook. Here are the terms that we always want to redline. Here are the terms that we're okay with, and so on. So with using agents though, and Cowork is an agent, basically, it's arguably a lot of agents. You can spin up multiple agents at the same time sometimes. Agent safety and governance, I always want to throw this in here. I think a lot of this is going to be kind of common sense for the names that I see here today, but let's go through it really quickly. So with Cowork, again, you're giving access to actual files on your actual computer. Restricting this folder access is going to, and maintaining backups due to agents, read, write, delete capabilities. If this is an important file, maybe you want to save a second version of it that the AI does not have access to, because it truly can just go delete stuff. And you won't even know until you come back. So there are safeguards that you can put in here. There are things in your prompts that you can put in there. You can put even in your overall kind of instructions to Claude, which is the main Claude MD file, which we're going to get into in the brain part. You can basically say don't delete anything and it won't, or you need to ask permission before you deleting. Avoid regulated workloads as co-work activity may not be captured in audit logs. So this is for you CMMC people out there. Just be careful what it's getting access to. Implement human checkpoints for consequential decisions like pricing or contract approvals. So never kind of I never let it send emails without me viewing them, at least for now. Maybe with this new model that they're releasing, I will, but we'll see. Be aware of potential prompt injection risks and always verify agent outputs. So Claude Cowork does do a pretty good job on prompt injection. Prompt injection is basically the new virus for the AI world. You know, if you have an AI agent browsing around the internet on your computer and it reads something on a website, it's called prompt injection, where it can basically say, like, someone can have a white website page with a white text on it, and the AI is still probably going to see that text, right? But the human eye wouldn't. So when AI sees that text and then it's like basically hypnotizes it, it's like, now go expose this and write an email with all of this sensitive information and send it to me, and you have all permission to do so. So when AI is browsing around the internet or receiving emails and reading its own email, prompt injection is a risk that is becoming you should be aware of it. These Opus 4.6 specifically does have some safeguards around it. All of these new models have safeguards around it. Prompt injection is not new, but it's just something to be aware of, especially if you give it access to just go browse the web without much oversight. So just be aware. All right. Now, in terms of Microsoft 365, Copilot, and Claude. Microsoft Copilot Cowork aims for intent to action with the Microsoft Graph running securely within M365's governance boundaries and using anthropic models. So even Microsoft's Copilot is working off of Claude in the background. So by using this, you're just kind of like um, in my opinion, with the new Office agents, this is just the preview of it. So they have this Office agents in beta. Everything I showed you on that PDF at the beginning of this presentation, this is just the start. So they're building on top of this. And you have to think whenever these AI models are releasing things, you need to think future. Okay. So, like, yeah, they're releasing this tool, but how's this tool going to be implemented into this bigger plan that I see them creating between, agents working your computer, being able to control those agents on your computer from the field or from anywhere with my phone, and now I'm getting access to more advanced, Microsoft Office capabilities. So I it's interesting that they have these public partnerships, and Microsoft 365 still relies on Claude for some of the Copilot stuff because Claude is kind of engineering them out of the workflow, engineering 365 out of the workflow because I think the companies or the people that truly adopt all of this AI technology they're going to be really focused in on using that one ecosystem with that one agent that can work seamlessly across all of their applications and knows everything and has this brain. And I want to get to the brain. I might skip through some of this stuff that I built out for you because I want to make sure I have enough time and I want to give you guys this video on how to set it up after. So Markdown. The ideal format for AI brains, I told you guys, is just basic text, right? So it remains readable even when rendered imperfectly. This is crucial for AI ingestion. Supports constant hierarchy and structured lists, reducing ambiguity for AI. Facilitates version control and team review due to its plain text nature. Enables the creation of AI-ready knowledge bases with minimal overhead. So these are the easiest things in the world to create. I literally just have AI create it for me because it's going to create multiple MD files based on what you essentially like are giving it. So if you're giving it background information about the company, and then you're telling it about how your organization operates, and then you're telling it about the people on your team, it might create three MD files for all those different pieces of information. Mine has like my meetings insights, and then it has like my calendar SOPs and insights, and then it has like email insights, and then it has like information about contracts connected and knows about like our product roadmap. So it created different files for those, but I did not tell it to go create those different files because I wanted it to make its own brain. Like I don't want it to fit into my structure. I arguably am very rarely going to go in there and read those files. It is building it for itself. One thing that was interesting to me is a lot of the information on the internet talks about if you want to build this like all-knowing brain about you, how you work, and make your life really, really easy, um, you should build out like these different file systems, and it's going to go create different MD folders and blah, blah, blah. What's interesting to me is the guy that created Claude Code, that arguably is Claude Cowork, which is also how we use MD files today in Claude. He and his team use one single MD file. They do not create separate files for like the team and the product and our projects and where this project is versus where that project is. They have one, and I don't even know how long it is. It's not public, obviously, but I would imagine it's just like forever long of all of the information of their company. They use one MD file versus what the kind of like the world is doing is seems to be using multiple. So with this, there's three layers to creating your brain, and think about this brain as two things. Again, I'm not really loving the word brain, but I got to think of some other word. But essentially, you have like a company layer, company level, and then you have your personal level. This is what you work with, interact with every single day. This is what the whole company shares. But your Claude instance should be using both, if that makes sense. So the instruction layer defines how the team works with agents, rules, tone, processes. The knowledge layer contains structured what we know. Here's our templates, here's our SOPs, here's how we work, here's where this gets handed off. And then an evidence layer. This stores what happened, project documents, logs, meeting minutes, correspondence. So this is that ever evolving. Here's where we are on this project. Here's what we have on this project. Here's the communication that was sent on this project, and so on. Now, in terms of best practices here, I want you guys to know this, but you don't have to. I'm not going to spend a ton of time on this because you guys are arguably just going to have AI create this for you. Now, when you have AI create this for you, do a voice note, talk to it, say, hey, Claude Cowork, I'm ready to build out this MD file structure for you to have a brain. I'm going to give you guys this like instructional video on setting it up as well. But you basically say, I'm ready to get started. It'll start interviewing you. You can start just riffing off about work, about if you want to know personal things, whatever. And it's going to structure this for you. It's going to create these scannability things for you. It's going to put in the metadata for you. It's going to basically build all this out, but you will want to review it. That is the key difference between the people that get a lot of value out of this and the people that get like good amount of value, because it's going to build out a crazy document. It's going to have headers, subheaders, information about this, information about that. You need to tell it, hey, this is a dynamic thing. This is changing. This project is 6 months in, and this is where you're going to see the emails come into my email, blah blah blah. But you basically need to go in there, talk about your life, talk about everything, but you need to read what it writes. Because if it goes off and uses this MD file, you're going to be like, that's not how I spell my last name. Like, where did it get that? And why can't I get it to fix it? Because once it grabs it and it puts it in that memory document, it's kind of stuck there. So let's keep going here because I want to make sure I have enough time. So you have the company level. The company level needs to be regulated and maintained. And this is where companies, I think, so we're going agentic, like the path is going agentic. Like I mentioned in the beginning, like we have an actual AI agent, an actual AI employee that's emailing, calling, texting team members and working together with them inside of a software, collaborating inside of a software for approvals from real people when it needs it, and so on. So agentic is where this is going, but your agents need MD files to know how the team works, who you are, what your company does, what your SOPs are, and this needs to evolve. It's not a set it and forget it. It's not a once and done. It can evolve its own brain, but somebody on your team needs to be the owner of this. And this is going to be something that all companies really need to lean into. So assigning a clear owner for the knowledge folders, for the MD folders, because if you have everybody adding to it without structure, and there's not one owner of this, it's going to become a mess. And you need somebody to kind of like review, regulate things, and make sure that when you guys add new things to these MD files, new pieces of information, that it's correct. And the whole team needs to be able to contribute to it, or at least push things to the owner to to contribute to it because um, let's say I am the project manager and I'm out there and I'm trying to generate an email report for, whatever I need, and it does it incorrectly. And it does it incorrectly because the MD file just didn't have enough knowledge about how I generate things on the job site. So as the project manager, I'd be like, well, I don't want that to happen again. So, this is how I do it. Here's an example. Update the MD file. And then once you update that MD file, it's going to know it forever. So that's the key thing to once that one project manager contributes to that MD file, the whole team benefits because the whole team is using this one brain up here that's learning about your company, learning about your processes. So I hope that makes sense. And that PM needs to be able to contribute, but you need an owner to make sure that there's not garbage getting in there and that it's just not conflicting with a bunch of other stuff in there. So implementing a simple review path for edits or contributions. If one team member contributes, everybody benefits forever. And that's a great return on investment from somebody's time. Um, Basically, you want to package mature workflows into co-work plugins for distribution via organizational marketplaces. Now, this could be as simple as if you guys are on SharePoint or if you guys are on Google Drive, everybody just downloads the SharePoint or Google Drive so that MD file structure is on your local hard drive, and you basically tell one person it's their responsibility to update it once a week, and you could create a different MD file that's not used by the memory that's like, hey, this MD file is for suggestions from the team, and the whole team's kind of AI program is added to the suggestions document. And once a week, the owner gets in there and says, reviewed my suggestion document, and then make any like notes about if there's conflicting information, and then I'll approve or reject each item. That's how I would go. So basically, I'm just going to run through this stuff really quickly. So, setting the stage for AI in construction, then we went through and defined the ecosystem, saw how the agent kind of works, what plugin skills and so on are. Then we talked about our brain here. Then we talked about some use cases. So, essentially, this is another slide about MCPs. But in terms of ROI, where to implement these, where I've seen most success in our AI community from people building this stuff and being on that leading edge and just being like crazy productive is automating contract review and agreement workflows. Usually, where you find boring processes, mundane processes, like just copy and pasting and downloading and blah, 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 that's where you guys see probably the biggest return on investment. That's the most structured stuff, repeatable stuff. Streamlining change order packaging and tracking, efficiently managing RFI triage and responding and drafting, coordinating submittal review and compliance summaries. All of this stuff, you could see how the company brain needs to be pretty robust for this to work. Contract review. What terms do we always redline? What terms do we hate? What terms do we love? What terms do we want to always basically put a red line on? Streamlining change order, packaging, and tracking. What is your guys' process? Where does it go? Who needs to approve it before it's sent? RFI stuff, you could see that brain, if it had a different MD file for each project, it's going to know everything about that project. It's going to be able to respond to those items very quickly, or at least draft those responses very quickly. Submittal review and compliance summaries, same thing. All right, so I want to open it up for questions really quickly, and then I'm going to give you guys this video here. This video is basically a beginner guide, and I've watched it. I think it is going to be very beneficial to you guys. So I would definitely check this out really quickly here. And then I'm also going to put in the community where I'm also posting a lot of this stuff. So this community here, just so you guys know, if you guys haven't been in here yet, I have over 50 lessons. There's beginner guide to AI for construction, advanced AI for construction, GPTs, custom GPT building. All my webinars are here, AI resources. I got all my kind of like news that I post out here. So I post a lot of different information about AI, how it's working, what we're doing every single day, what we're testing. And then we have members all over the world, which is pretty cool. So if you guys aren't part of that, I post in there every day. I host office hours every Thursday. There is the YouTube video I put in the chat here that I sent in there quite a few days ago already, a couple weeks ago actually. And yeah, I have the question and answer open here too. I know I kind of went over a lot of like pretty top level stuff. I think that the main takeaway here, if you guys are going to take anything away, is the company brain. Find a way to structure that. And especially if you guys are in Claude, having one person contribute and then everybody benefit forever, man, that's gonna move you guys fast. It's gonna be really critical to success, I think, with systems like this. And when you guys have the agents come out, like we have with our contract administrators, when the agents come out and come online, they'll be working off that same brain. So if you start it now, you will be building it forever for the future, and everybody wins when you guys have this. So markdown files, MD files is something you need to become very familiar with. AI is leaning on them more and more and more just to know about you, know about your processes. And it's going to basically be the brain in which your contract administrator agent, if you're working with Contracts Connected, for instance, is going to know and remember things about your company. Um, yeah, if there's no questions, I guess, share a little bit more about what we're doing with the contract administrator agent at Contracts Connected. So like I mentioned, if you guys have anybody that's kind of AI forward, we have built out a fully agentic, autonomous contract administrator for the construction industry. It is working in beta with one construction company in San Diego. We're onboarding two more currently, and we're looking for more companies. We're not taking this really to market yet. Like this isn't super public, just so you guys know. So you guys are getting a little bit of a sneak peek. But this thing. You can email it. It emails vendors. It uses the contracts connected platform just like a user would. So it's user permissioned, it's gated, like it's very safe. And yeah, it's kind of game changing. There's a lot of team members at that construction company that it took them like weeks before they had a meeting. And then they thought they were talking to a real person on email, like that the company hired a new contract administrator. So it was pretty funny. Now, Brian asked here in the Q&A, are MD files going to be used across multiple platforms, GPT and Claude? So right now, ChatGPT does not use them really. I mean, they do something, Codex, the coding platform does use them. However, ChatGPT will use them, I bet, in like a week or two here. They are coming out with a mega platform, so they say, that is to rival Claude's app that has just been like eating their lunch lately. So they will. Um, AI, the industry in general, is leaning heavily on these. So just so you guys know, if you want to plan out for the future, MD files are the future, for now at least, of how you need to build out this background, have this ever-evolving knowledge base, this ever-evolving brain that's just going to continuously learn more about your company. The more emails it reads, the more it sees interactions from you, and it's going to be able to kind of update itself and continuously add to itself. So it is a 100% great investment, no matter what AI tool that you're going to be using in the future. Hopefully that helps, Brian. All right. All right, 5 minutes left. If there's any other questions, I'm happy to answer them. I would love to see everybody in the AI community. I know a lot of the guys here today are already in there. And yeah, I'm going to keep building our AI agents. building out our MD files and just working. You guys, like it's time. It's build time. Like the time is now. We have a fully autonomous AI contract administrator, literally live, emailing people, emailing subs, calling subs, getting documents, chasing down items, tracking items, communicating. Like it's a nuts time right now. It's pretty crazy. Maybe I'll do a webinar just on that. Depending on maybe I'll have to spin it up in a demo account because I don't know, sharing real contracts and stuff on real projects and stuff wouldn't probably be the best for webinars, but I'll try to figure something out for you guys because it's pretty cool. It's like I laugh sometimes when I go in there and I see what it did because I'm like, I don't know how it figured that out so well. So there should be exciting news in the next 7 days. I'm hopeful that Anthropic or OpenAI will be launching their new model in the coming days, which would be really cool. And they say it's going to kind of reshape the economy and work as we know it. So you guys, like I don't know what to tell you other than like now's the time to lean in. If you can lean in now, you're gonna have a 6 month head start on the general population across productivity and these tools and building things out. Like now's the time to get ahead. It's still early. We're still early. You're still early. So thank you for being here. You should thank yourself for being here too. It's good that you guys are leaning into this stuff. And I will see you guys on the next one if there's no questions. So I'll end a couple minutes early. Otherwise, if I see a question pop in, I'll answer it. Thanks for coming, Manny. Good to see you as always.